The NRA said they don't want medical professionals studying gun violence in any way. It's as if they're worried that they may find something they don't want everyone to see. You know what? We're going to study today anyways, despite what they say. Stick around.
Parkland, Santa Fe, Pittsburgh, and now Thousand Oaks. And that just skims the surface. There have been 307 mass shootings with 4 or more people shot.
We're all too familiar with this scene. We see kids walking away from the school and we're told this is the 18th school shooting this year. Or we're told this is the 300th mass shooting that America's had this year. And all of us are thinking, this has happened 300 times? My gosh, where are they getting these numbers from, I wonder? USA Today, what do they tell us? They say Thousand Oaks this year was the 307th mass shooting, according to gunviolencearchive.org. 300 mass shooting according to gunviolencearchive.org. Wow, another source. ABC 15, 300th and rising, according to Gun Violence Archive. What do you know? So they've been quoted quite a bit throughout all these different articles, so it made me wonder, who are they? So what does PolitiFact have to say? When they look at it, the Gun Violence Archive bases it off the national definition, which is 4 or more shot or killed in a single attack. Whereas they compared it to Mother Jones, who of course said it's a single attack in a big public place. 3 or more victims were killed. So for that year, for 2017, they called that 7 mass shootings. So then the question is, who is Gun Violence Archive? Well, The Guardian actually did an interview with the guy who created Gun Violence Archive. His name is Mark Bryant. For more information, refer to this. You can go onto Gun Violence Archive yourself, look at their About Us. They say they're independent. They collect their data and research with no affiliation to any advocacy groups, which is objectively hard to believe because when you click on the related websites tab, you look, they're listed with Brady Campaign, Giffords Act, Moms Demand Action, Everytown for Gun Control. In the article from The Guardian, they said Bryant's numbers have been cited in presidential debates, local, state, and federal decisions. The media outlets refer to them. So we're going to base our numbers off of them.
That's excluding gang violence and terrorism. Of course, the U.S. is a much larger country, but if you adjust for population size, it still ranks higher. Of these countries, Finland is next, with just 2 shootings over 14 years, but a much, much smaller population. This level of gun violence is a uniquely American problem among the developed world. And here's one reason why. There are a ton of guns in the U.S. This chart shows the estimated number of guns by country. It's adjusted for population size, and it's still not even close.
Well, of course it's the guns! More guns equals more gun homicides, more mass shootings. It's simply the most obvious thing you have ever said on the show. Oh, when you look at the facts and the statistics, the places that have gun control inside America, the tighter the gun control, the less deaths, especially when controlling for crime rates. So when you look at it, it is just simply not true that gun control doesn't work. It does work on an international scale. The difference is stark, as I've shown you in all of these numbers. Where they have less guns, they have less murders by guns and less mass shootings.
So that leaves the audience having their takeaway. The mass shooting on television has happened 272 other times? More gun ownership means more violence? The media subtracted gang and terrorism, so that's all law-abiding citizens. So what are they proposing to do? We need common sense laws, more gun restrictions, ban the AR-15, hire more police, even repeal the Second Amendment. Many people are stepping up saying that our legislator needs to solve this. The CDC should research it, legislatures can help treat it. David Hogg himself said, "We will systematically dismantle the NRA with the thing they fear the most, facts." I agree, David. Let's do that. We're going to study the violence they don't want us to study today. We went to Gun Violence Archive, click on the Past Years tab, and you're able to look through and see everything listed by year, incidents, 2016 all the way through 2018. We're not going to go over 2018 just yet. I'm going to give them a little bit more time to figure out all the rest of the cases, all that kind of stuff. Let's go with 2017. So you can see they have the number of incidents listed, number of deaths, injuries, children, teenagers, mass shootings, home invasions, defensive uses. You can see those two numbers are pretty close together, surprisingly. Defensive uses aren't in the millions, but we're going to do that in another video. We're going to go over mass shootings because these other cases with injuries and all that, Not exactly the same thing. There's just most of these injuries are accidents and stuff like that. So if we're going to study violence, we need to go to mass shootings. And those are a hot topic in the news, so those things are covered all the time. The way their tabs work, you look at December. If you want to see the beginning of that year, you go down to the very first page. And they have everything listed by state, location, number of killed and injured, and they have the incidents and sources. So I just went through state by state, found ones like Illinois. You can see everything listed there. This one says gang involvement. So that's how I would list that one. These are my methods. I'm going through and figuring out what the incidents were for that year. You can see, let's go with California. Oh, look, more gang violence. Then I saw incidents like this where it didn't really list anything, so you have to read the source for yourself. So you can click onto it, and it'll come up. You can read through it and determine what you think for yourself. And there was a lot of different patterns that I saw that were going on from state to state were actually really the same. You would see a lot of people that didn't want to talk to the police, a lot of witnesses that weren't very cooperative, and I saw this over and over again, and I wondered why that was. And then I came across this article where the police officer interviewed said the victims plan to retaliate. Who retaliates? Gangs do. I found other articles where it talked about the victims being armed, their lengthy criminal histories, they're armed with illegal guns. There's other ones, juvenile courts, some more gang stuff. Then I found this one from Ohio. It was one of the worst mass shootings they had ever seen, but the guy had a lengthy criminal history, so it didn't really get seen anywhere. Other examples I saw were unsolved, so the police didn't tell the media, so there's not really an answer. Likely gang violence, who knows. There was drug ring involvement. There was a couple of them that were defensive gun use, but there wasn't enough evidence, so the person got locked away. He never got a retrial. He died in prison. Stuff like this. I went through state by state, tallied them up case by case, and then I hit the chart button, and this is what I saw. 34 mass shootings in Illinois, 8 gang violence, 11 drive-bys, 11 likely gang violence because nobody was willing to cooperate with police, likely to retaliate, 3 unsolved bar incidents, and an unsolved one, nobody would talk to police. Wow, none of them were listed as law-abiding citizens who shot up a place. So what are they proposing to do to end all that gun violence? Put restrictions on law-abiding citizens. That sounds like real common sense there. 19 mass shootings in Ohio. Gang violence unsolved, drive-by, likely gang violence, drug rings, psychopaths. We even have one concealed carrier. His case, he had got jumped in a club by a few guys and he hit a few other people. Yeah, he deserved to be arrested for it. So what about the other 18 cases? What are we proposing to do for all these law-abiding citizens? Let's take your guns away. Let's see what that does to help out all these criminal cases. Common sense, right? Maryland, 8 mass shootings, home invasions, gang involvements, likely gang violence, drug involvement, no law-abiding citizens. What are they proposing to do to end the violence? Take guns from law-abiding citizens. Are you starting to see the pattern yet? New Jersey, 14 mass shootings, all criminal activity, no law-abiding citizens did a mass shooting. What are they proposing? Take weapons from law-abiding citizens. Florida had 25 mass shootings, all gang violence except for one. We got the one at the beginning of that year. He was the soldier who came from Alaska, shot up the airport. I mean, what are they planning to do in that? Let's take weapons from soldiers? No, not at all. What are they proposing? Take weapons from law-abiding citizens. How would that have helped in any way in any of these cases? All of them were criminal except for the one. Are we going to take guns from soldiers? No. Michigan, 8 mass shootings, all of them criminal cases. What are they proposing to do to end these? Take weapons from law-abiding citizens. Georgia, 9 mass shootings, no law-abiding citizens. What are they proposing to do? Take weapons from law-abiding citizens. We all know Nevada, the big, disgusting one everybody lost sleep over, but nobody talks about the other one that they had. It was a felon in possession of a gun who shot people. Virginia, 11 mass shootings. One guy passed a background check and went and shot up a Republican event. He was a Bernie Sanders supporter. What are they proposing to do? Ban Bernie Sanders supporters? No, not at all. They're planning to take weapons from law-abiding citizens. New York had 12 mass shootings, all criminal except one guy who passed a background check and shot up the workplace he used to work in. All right, let's say we added more laws. That probably would have done something for that case, but what about the other 11? Common sense, right? Take guns from law-abiding citizens. Oh yes, the notorious Texas. 20 mass shootings. 2 of them were law-abiding citizens. The rest were all criminal cases. One guy passed a background check and he shot up a Baptist church. An NRA member nearby heard the shots, ran over barefoot, and started shooting back and stopped the mass shooting. We don't hear about this one. They buried it. What about the other case? The domestic dispute. Well, turns out that guy had been abusing his wife domestically. If she had reported him, she would still be alive and so would her friends. What are they proposing to do about all these other circumstances? Take guns from law-abiding citizens. So don't you see all the common sense here? Pennsylvania, 14 mass shootings. All of them listed as criminal activity. No law-abiding citizens. What are they proposing to do? Take guns from law-abiding citizens. Boston, Massachusetts, 1 mass shooting by a felon in possession of a gun. No law-abiding citizens did anything. What are they proposing to do to end the violence? Take guns from law-abiding citizens. And California, with the strictest gun laws in the entire nation, still ended up with 36 mass shootings. 2 of them active shooters. The rest were all criminal cases. Now, one of them was the UPS incident that year. Now, it turns out that guy stole his guns in order to shoot up the place. He could not buy them himself. He didn't pass the background check. The other was a guy whose girlfriend dumped him, so he decided to shoot up his neighborhood and went out by suicide by cop. So, okay, maybe more restrictions would have helped with one of those circumstances, but what about the other 35 cases? What are they proposing to do? Take guns from law-abiding citizens. Do you see the pattern here yet?
And finally we reach Arizona with the loosest gun laws in the entire nation and a large population. Easy to obtain guns. All you got to do is pass a background check. No real waiting periods, anything like that. They had 5 mass shootings for the entire year, all gang-related incidents. Of their huge population, not one of their law-abiding citizens decided to go on a mass shooting. So, what do you think would solve their issues? Let's take guns from law-abiding citizens. Wait a minute, what did we hear from the media just a moment ago?
This level of gun violence is a uniquely American problem among the developed world.
Well, of course it's the guns! More guns equals more gun homicides, more mass shootings.
Time to face the objective truth. Let's see what happens when you take all the numbers from everything I totaled up. Look at what happens when you hit the chart button again. It shows that everything is mostly criminal cases. If you turn it sideways in the comparison that the mainstream media just did, you can see it lines up almost exactly with what they just showed us. And look at that. They did not actually disclude gang and terrorism like they told us at the beginning of the video. That's called lying. That is called a post hoc fallacy. It's where they shared information that does not match up with what they are telling you. Based off of this, I've given you the evidence. More guns does not equal more gun violence. You have tons and tons of people that have guns that have never used them for anything bad here. Yet you can see that all these mass shootings aren't done by those people. So going after law-abiding citizens holding onto their guns, that's not going to make a difference. The only reason politicians would want to do that is if they're actually trying to become tyrannical, just like we have been warned about. The truth is, these politicians really don't care about public safety. All the evidence is right here. We are not dangerous enough to disarm us all. We are not dangerous enough that you need to take guns from everybody in the population to make a difference. The truth is, if you went after the criminals, you'd see a huge reduction in mass shootings year after year. More research and videos to come. Stay tuned.